Yeah, listen, we had a little bit of hiatus, but we got some good stuff to talk about. Good stuff to talk about now. I mean, there's a sore topic. I don't know if I want to bring that up first with Knicks fans, but let's just talk about that. Let's just talk about the NBA draft in general. Uh, who do you guys think what's him did well in the draft this past week?
I would say Detroit, right? Didn't they get Ivy and Durant, I think? So they
Yeah,
filled two big needs. I wonder how that Ivy Cade Cunningham pairing is going to go. On paper, it seems good, but I think they both need the ball in their hands. I think Cade is a little more passive, so it may work out. But I think they did well. Detroit.
The Spurs always do good, man. The Spurs got that kid from Oregon, Sean. Got a kid, EJ Liddell for Ohio State. He's a very good player. I want him to go to the Knicks at the 11th pick. But obviously he went to a different direction though. But I think the Spurs, as usual, always do a good job in the draft. But the kid got from Oregon, kid from Ohio State, he did pretty good. The Spurs.
yeah. I think some of the teams it was kind of tough because I think going into the draft, Charlotte not having a coach, that was probably a bad look.
Mm-hmm.
Going in there without a coach or something. I mean, you don't really know what direction it is, but I believe didn't they hire Steve Clifford again now or something?
Yeah, that was yesterday though.
Yeah, after the draft.
Yeah.
So that didn't really make a lot of sense. I mean,
right.
When you look at some of the picks, I heard that Chet Holmgren went to the Orlando workout and just quit in the middle. Like they were doing a drill and he just called it off. He was done. So
Yeah, I heard something crazy like that too. He stopped during the shooting drill or something, and like you said, walked off. Or it's not uncommon that these guys try to steer themselves or their agent try to steer them towards specific teams. But either way, it's not a good look to start your career doing stuff like that.
Well, he did. Well, he pulled the Eli Manning.
yeah.
He didn't want to go to Charge. He didn't want to go to Orlando. He wanted to go to OKC.
Yeah.
So I think Ivy, not that he refused, but Ivy just never seemed like purposely had contact with the Sacramento Kings. So they never had any medical records, anything.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a lot of strange stuff going on. Like I know this guy, the guy that the Kings drafted, Keegan Murray, they said that the owner wanted to have him drafted. So for weeks, the owner was focused on getting him or something because I guess he thought he was the missing piece or something. But yeah, the owner really wanted to make that pick. So there's some interesting stuff going on.
He was probably more NBA ready than most kids. I can see that. He's definitely polished. Not too flashy though, but he gets the job done. So he's gonna be a good player for them.
Yeah, and then you got some things like to be honest with you, I couldn't figure out what the Knicks were doing. Like I couldn't figure out. What I understand, they got like 6 number 1 picks or something, or 3 or 4, 3 number 1s, 3 number 2s, and a million different conditions attached to all of them or something. So, I mean, realistically, all of this to dump Kemba Walker's contract.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to start reversing the mistakes they made, a year or two ago, whatever it was. Because I don't think, like Kemba's signing wasn't the end of the world when they first did it.
Yeah.
But I don't think staying the course with like Alec Burks, Noel, I think those guys should have been out then. You should have let them walk in free agency. So now we're trying to, undo those wrongs there. Kemba, he was, in the signing, bringing him back home and everything else, I could live with it. But giving up a 11th pick to essentially do it, I think is a bit much for me.
So, a lot of teams basically kind of drafted along the lines of who you thought they would get or something, what positions they were looking. So there wasn't a lot of surprises. I would say that. Like usually you get one team that people are just shocked, but it didn't seem like it was a lot of people surprised I mean, a couple of guys fell maybe a little further than they thought they would, but like I think the guy from the G League, I think his name is Jalen Hardy.
Oh, yeah,
He
Jaden
fell,
Hardy. Yeah,
he fell further than he was supposed to, and I think some people thought that Ty Washington would have went earlier too.
Mhm.
But
Knicks.
yeah, that's what they think. I think they thought the Knicks would have took him, but
I think for him at 11 would have been a bit. I like him, but I think it would have been a bit of a reach to pick him at 11, Washington. Because is he better than whoever else we could, just bring in as a point guard?
no, and I think the Knicks' plan wasn't to bring in a rookie point guard anyway. If he would have brought him in, he'd have been
The Tibbs effect.
yeah, he would have just went to the back of the line. So I don't see that happening. I
Plus,
still think
I guess ultimately we seen that they just didn't want to pay a first round draft pick's salary too, right? Due to
yeah,
the, I guess we'll get into that, right? Due to
yeah,
them.
yeah. I think well, aside from the draft, we're about 5 days away from free agency. So I mean, realistically, looking at the free agents that's out there, there's a lot of different guys. I had DeAndre Ayton. Detroit's prepared to offer him the max. I don't. I mean,
Which doesn't make sense to me after you. It does and it doesn't at the same time. Before they got Durant, I could see it. Now, not so much. And I'm not saying Durant is better than Ayton, not by a long shot. But why did you get Durant then? Because to me, he's an undersized center, but
yeah,
you don't want to put him at power forward. Him and Ayton can hit that little mid range, but I think they'll both clog up the paint trying to play together. It's no teams running with, two traditional bigs in the starting lineup. So if I'm them, if I'm Detroit, I would probably go for Miles Bridges personally. He's from Detroit. He fits what they need on the wing now that they got rid of Grant. If I'm going to max out somebody, I would go with Miles Bridges at this point.
Yeah, I mean that the Pistons are falling back on getting Ayton because of that pick of Durant from college. So is he gonna stay in the Suns? I'm not quite sure where he's gonna be right now. Now that they're gonna fall back as far as trying to acquire Ayton.
I know they said Atlanta was interested, but they're not interested in paying him max money.
Right.
So,
What is the length? Because I know before that was controversial. What is the length? Like when you sign these guys to offer sheets, how long does that tie up the
so
money? Because that's still a huge thing, I think.
they shortened that. Before it was like a week. Now it's only like 48 hours because
Mm.
Yeah, that's good then.
yeah, what
'Cause
teams were
before it was too
doing.
much. You were like scared to offer a restricted free agent a contract because then you lose out on
On
all these other
everybody else.
guys.
Yeah,
Teams just snatch up the free agents that aren't restricted.
Right.
yeah. You'd have to, whoever that is you tried. You'd have to go all in on them. You basically had to pay them because if not, there's not going to be anybody left.
And that's when they started getting into like in order to try to balance it out a little bit, you had to start giving these weird contracts where most of the money is front
Front
loaded
loaded.
and all type of strange deals, which was eating
Yeah.
up people's cap even worse.
Yeah,
Because now you're giving them, a max deal, but you're giving them, 30, 40 million in year one, year two.
yeah,
You're
yeah. I
doing all
think
type of crazy stuff so that
Mhm.
the person's initial team wouldn't match.
yeah. I think some of these teams. Listen, I mean, obviously, just speaking about the Knicks, Jalen Brunson is obviously the obvious target there. I mean, I really don't think that. I don't think Dallas is prepared to match like a $25 million offer. But I do think that knowing Mark Cuban, that they will be trying to file some kind of tampering charges or something because you hired the guy's father, and I believe isn't the guy from the Knicks, his son is his agent or something like that.
I think they would have to, like you said, knowing Mark Cuban, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think they would have to like come with a little more evidence than that, simply because Brunson's been on Tibbs' staff before.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So, him all of a sudden being a part of the Knicks staff, they said the Knicks wanted to hire him last year, Rick
Yeah,
Brunson as part of the staff. And for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. So, even though I do think the Knicks are tampering personally.
yeah. But you know what though? I think as much as they said, I think there is some kind of level of tampering with a lot of teams because players talk to other players and you know who you want. A lot of times, guys know before this free agent even start who's leaving, who's staying, and where they might go.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it. There's no way these guys don't talk to each other.
Like I don't believe Bradley. I don't believe from what they're saying, Bradley Beal's not going out anywhere. He's going to opt out and take that max deal. I mean,
That's what I think. He's saying but I've heard him say this before in terms of prioritizing winning but when they throw 250 million in front of you over 5 years,
yeah, yeah, he'd love to be a wizard for life at that point.
or he's going to do. My personal opinion is he's
Force
going to
his way out after year one.
Yeah, what everybody else does. These guys now.
See, now
They'll
speaking
sign 5-year deals. They'll play the first year on it, and then claim they're disgruntled because management didn't do anything to help them become a winning organization when you just ate up the whole cat.
speaking of guys that's disgruntled and trying to move and do stuff, we got the Kyrie Irving thing now. I would tell you personally, I don't think he's going anywhere, just for a couple of reasons, right? For one thing, I don't care what he thinks. No team is interested in paying him max money for max years. He's not going to get that from anywhere. Nowhere. And then they had some article today about some of the teams that he thinks he wants to go to. They don't even want him. They have no interest in him at all. The Lakers got $6 million in cap space or whatever, and most of these teams don't have anything to offer. So if he leaves, he's going to become the world's most expensive Dennis Schroeder. So he'll be on a different team every other year, or whatever. And if he pulls any of that stuff not showing up, he'll be out altogether. I think eventually him and the Nets will reconcile, but if they don't,
his options are certainly limited. Maybe he should have pulled this on a year where teams have more money to spend. Because he still wants to, I'm sure, be on a winner, right? It's not too many teams with cap space to begin with. Then he wants to be on a winner. He also wants to get paid, obviously. He's not going to any of these teams and accepting, like you said, the Schroeder deal where I just opted out at $36 million or whatever it is, and I'm signing to play with the Lakers with LeBron James and them for 4.
Exception, yeah,
or 6 or whatever it is. He don't want to leave that bad, I'm sure.
No. And then you look at it, like, let's say for the Nets, the nuclear option does happen. He leaves, right? And they got to trade KD. KD is not in a position where he can dictate where he can go, where he wants to go.
Probably due to the amount of years on his contract.
He got 4 years guaranteed that he's got to go wherever they send him. And if I'm the Nets, listen, it's nice.
So he has no leverage when you got 4 years. You gain more leverage when you have a few years left on the deals. How you gain leverage, because you could always tell that new team, well, I'm going to leave, right? That's the threat. If you got a year left on the deal, they're about to trade you to Sacramento, you could tell the Kings in advance, hey, I'm not re-signing here. So the Kings are reluctant then. But when you got 4 years, a team like that may take a shot on you because they know you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm sending you basically wherever I want to send you. And listen, and if I'm them, listen, who knows? He might end up back on OKC. Or, what would be a nice choice of somebody to try to do? Send him to Washington. Give him Kuzma, give him 17 draft picks and all types of stuff or something. He could play with Bradley Beal. They'll never win, but he'll be at home and he could live with that and he'll be happy with that. But some of this other stuff, you see, like Damian Lillard is posting stuff to lobby to get KD there and all types of stuff and different people. I'm like, I don't even necessarily know. Listen, I like KD and I like Kyrie, but I don't even know if you're a player you necessarily want to play with him that much because KD is KD. He's a great player, but he's definitely not a leader and definitely not the best in the locker room.
Yeah, he comes across as being quiet in the locker room. The only place he's not quiet at, it seems like, is social media. Seems like it's easy to get under his skin on social media, but in the locker room, he doesn't seem like he's the type of guy that's like a leader in the locker room. I think, and that's probably why he's found himself in some of these situations. Golden State, he had conflicts, right? If he was that strong alpha presence in the locker room, Draymond Green wouldn't have been trying half of that stuff he was doing with him. It just wouldn't have happened. And KD got upset, it seems like, because Golden State's management, right? Steve Kerr and these guys didn't
Wouldn't
jump
fix it
in
for him. Yeah.
and do it for him, the dirty work, and tell Draymond, the same thing he told the media. I'm Kevin Durant. He should have said that to Draymond, right?
Yeah.
And made Golden State choose if that was the case between him and Draymond.
Well, they
Same
got
thing with the Nets. I think KD should have been a Knick. I'm glad neither one of them did based on the turn of events now, but KD should have been a Knick. I think he let Kyrie steer him over there.
I think he did, but I think from what KD said, it's sad to say, Nick ownership did that to themselves again, because Dolan wouldn't give him the 5th year, which is insane. He refused to give him the 5th year, so you can shoot yourself in the foot. I'm not going to give Kevin Durant the 5th year, but I'm going crazy dumping the whole team to give Jalen Brunson $100 million for 4 years. This is why the Knicks
crazy thing too is even if you give him the 5th year for whatever reason it doesn't pan out, unless he gets hurt again or whatever the case may be, you could always trade him, right? He's Kevin Durant.
He's Kevin Durant.
He's gonna have some trade value unless he can't walk or something.
And insurance would have paid it if he couldn't walk. So I don't really get like that or something, unless he just didn't like him personally in the interview or whatever, or something. Maybe I think somebody like KD is like the type of person that, let's say a guy like LeBron. LeBron comes into a team and he might have a vision and he start talking about what he thinks should happen and everything else. Whereas KD would sit at that table and just stare at James Dolan. They'll look at each other waiting to see who's going to talk. Because I don't see him trying to sell himself to anybody. He's like, listen, you can watch the film if you want. I'm KD. You either want me or you don't want me type of guy. Whereas LeBron will come in and have his whole envisionment, of what he thinks should go on and stuff, and people will get excited about it. KD, you get what you get. That's what it is.
That's another thing I recently read is KD is yet another one of those guys who doesn't recruit either.
No.
So you bring him in, he's not helping recruit free agents there either. He got all the talent in the world, but that's something he just doesn't partake in. I always found it when Derrick Rose was doing it. I always found it funny. I thought it was comical because Derrick Rose would literally just not pay any of these guys any mind whatsoever.
Who they try to bring in, I don't care. I'm not helping with that. That's not my job. And then you got other people on the other side of it. I was reading where supposedly Kawhi Leonard and Paul George like to be involved in all personnel decisions. I mean,
I think sometimes it's a bit much.
To me, first of all, I mean, I get into debates with my son about this all the time. Kawhi Leonard was saying, I'm going to get him one of them ski masks and a gun. All he did was robbing the hell out of the Clippers for the last 2. Didn't he play like 60 games in 3 years now, or 80 games in 3 years? He's kind of he's the nice version of Kyrie. Kyrie's not out there making
he was robbing the Spurs too, right?
Yeah.
Before he left there. Granted, I'm sure he was hurt.
Yeah.
I don't even know if his injury warranted sitting out that whole season. The torn ACL is a season's injury at this point. Nobody's coming back less than a season for that. But outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, he's
kind of Kyrie-ish, but in a nice way, the load management and everything else.
Yeah, he's not going to go out there and you're not going to see him in pictures at a party while his knee is hurting, or he's not going to just come in and say something crazy. He's just not going to show up.
That's one of the things when you bring in Kawhi, load management is coming along with him. You either accept it or you don't.
But I don't think a lot of these teams, like the Clippers are not good enough for him to do load management. That Toronto team, listen, they won a championship. You can't take it away from them. But we all know why they won. KD and Klay Thompson were gone. So that's that. I mean, the Kawhi won the championship. Yeah, Kawhi beat Golden State with just Steph. If you want to put a Steph and Draymond, yeah, he beat them. But before it was him, but this guy was. Even the game where KD finally got on, he was cooking these guys.
Yeah, they said apparently Golden State has never lost a series when they've had Klay, Draymond, and Steph all on the court. They've never lost a series.
No, they haven't. I mean, I look. That's one team too. You know, they drafted a guy to go back to the draft, Patrick Baldwin Jr., who he fell some spots that he was supposed to go higher. If you look at them and they're able to pay the money, and there's a lot of teams that's a little upset about how the NBA is working with the money and stuff, but you can't blame the teams. If they can retain these guys they have, they can go on and be a dynasty and be in a championship around for years to come. Because you think about it, even as these guys get old, if you can keep a Poole, a Moody, you see Wiseman turns around, you got Kaminga or whatever, you keep these guys. Like realistically, I'll be honest with you, I'm letting Kevon Looney go. I'm not
Yeah,
paying Kevon Looney no
if there's one
20
guy
million
that I have to
deal.
let walk, it would be him.
Yeah,
Because supposedly Jordan Poole, we talking about Brunson on the $100 million.
they're gonna
Jordan
pay him,
Poole's
yeah.
supposedly looking for $100 million deal too.
And they talking about paying
And
him.
Wiggins supposedly looking to get a max extension or something crazy. There's no way, even though they have the money, I don't see them maxing out Wiggins and Poole when you already got Steph obviously on a max contract, Clay on a max contract.
See, the
This
scariest
is
thing,
unheard of, to have 4 or 5 guys on max contracts.
the scary thing about it is that from a basketball perspective, right? Realistically, and people will debate this or argue this one. Realistically, they should trade Clay
To me, Wiggins is their second best player right now.
because what Clay's off is not the old Clay. What Clay is offering now, you can get that. They can. We're saying, as Poole matures and the combination, you can get what Clay's offering right now.
They
If it
already
was the
showed
old
that.
Clay, because the old Clay was even a better defender. He wasn't even that great a defender this year either.
There's
I'll give him
lateral
a year
movement.
though, because it's the first year back. I'll give him that. So it's like the jury's still out on what he looks like next year, but he wasn't the same Clay this year.
No, he wasn't. I would give him this season, like you said, that just passed, coming back from a torn ACL and Achilles. But next year, if he's looking like this, there's no way I'm maxing him out on an extension.
No,
I don't know. I wouldn't be necessarily looking to dump him, but I
no, I
wouldn't be
wouldn't look
looking
at
to
dump
max him out either. He's gonna have to take a pay cut if he's looking like this next year.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not that. I mean, it's sad to say in the NBA, it's not that big a deal. But if he's willing to stay for something in the what's in the 75 to 80 range for 4 years or something, then you keep him. But if he's looking for super max money where he's put 160 or 200 for 4 years, you can't do that for Clay right now.
I wouldn't.
Not at this point. I know I'm not doing it for Kyrie.
Talent-wise, I
Clay ain't
would,
going
but he
nowhere.
can't stay on the court.
Yeah, Clay's not going anywhere. He's
Clay not going nowhere.
he's part of like the staple. I mean, I actually think they're gonna ride these guys out and let them retire there.
Right. They deserve that.
I think their roles may end up changing at a point because even if you look at Draymond, they were kind of giving him the business a little bit in this playoffs. Like he turned from a defender to an agitator. So he went from a guy that was a defensive stopper to Dennis Rodman against the Seattle Supersonics, where he was just trying to get people thrown out of the game and stuff.
Yeah, I think he was terrible.
Yeah, he was him. I think
He played his part though. The only thing, the biggest gripe I have with Draymond is his mouth. I get that that's part of his game, like you said, the agitating stuff. So I'm not even talking about from that perspective. When he's off the court is when I have a problem with his mouth because he's running his mouth as if he's actually, some superstar or something. That's the biggest problem I have with him. Not even his on the court antics, it's the off the court stuff that I have a problem with. As if he's not out there being carried by Steph and these guys. Sure, he plays his role. He gets his 8 or 9 rebounds, 5, 6 assists, forcing guys into technical fouls and all type of stuff. Like Jalen Brown said, he tried to pull his shorts down, right, to agitate him. I get all that. It's just the stuff off the court that annoys me with Draymond because he talks as if he's Steph.
Draymond is the luckiest NBA draft pick ever. If he wasn't on the Warriors, he'd been traded at least 2 times already.
Yeah, I could believe
at
that.
least. Yeah.
I could believe
At
that.
least 2 times already. This guy in the league who could do what he do. I'm not trying to discredit him. He's a good fit, you know what I'm saying? But he landed in a perfect spot with the
Yeah,
Warriors, with Clay and Curry, and I guess Steve Kerr, Mark Jackson's philosophy on sports and open offensive system like that. But he put
yeah.
other guys in our spot, man. These guys probably have more chips. You know, take out Draymond
Yeah.
Green and put somebody else. Well, you ain't gotta be Giannis.
No,
Take
no.
take take out Draymond Green and put in Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You know what's funny? Everybody thinks that these players are new and all this stuff and stuff, but if you think about it, Draymond Green to me at points, Anthony Mason played better than Draymond Green. And we wouldn't be giving Anthony Mason that type of money or giving him that type of control, to say he was it's a lot of these
I
guys.
mean, we tried, but Pat wasn't having that.
Yeah.
Don Nelson, Pat like, nah, we ain't doing that.
But I think a lot of these players, they just like he's got top 10 player mouth, but I would say he's not even a great role player at this point.
Let's put it this way. Yeah, let's put it this way. Steph, right, missed all those games, right? Missed pretty much the whole season. We know Clay was out the whole season.
Yeah.
And they ended up with the number 1 pick in James Wiseman. Draymond wasn't hurt. So let's put it that way. How'd they end up with the number 1 pick?
And the funniest thing is, you know what? This is the sad thing about it too, is usually you could say a player defaulted and they have the talent to do stuff. But it wasn't like I seen Draymond putting up 26 and 11, and his numbers didn't change.
Yeah, he couldn't do anything. That's how they ended up with Wiseman. He was useless.
Yeah, his numbers didn't change at all. So
in fact, they got worse.
Yeah, and
his numbers probably got worse. Yeah. And I get it. He's not a scorer, but he couldn't do anything right out there.
So basically what we're saying is that he's really Kendrick Perkins. That's another guy that's mouth runs a lot. Yeah, his mouth. You would
pretty
think
much, and then him and Perkins got into some thing on social media, right?
Yeah.
And Perkins was right in the sense that Perkins was like, I could throw some of those passes too. And if you look at some of those old clips of Perkins throwing those passes to KD and Westbrook,
he could
pretty much doing the same thing too.
Did you guys get a chance to see Richard Jefferson's face when Kendrick Perkins tried to tell him he was a role player? I was a role player just like Richard Jefferson. And Richard was like, what? Richard Jefferson should have turned to Kendrick Perkins like, you do know that I'm the Nets all-time leading scorer.
Richard Jefferson.
I was a role player, but I'm leading the all-time leading scorer in the Nets history. So
yeah, in his Nets days, Richard Jefferson was a monster.
Yeah, he wasn't a role player.
He was at least an all-star.
He obviously forgot about those net years and probably the Cavaliers years that's in his head. That's what it is.
Yeah, it said that him and Richard Jefferson were the same. They were just really good role players. Like, I think you over-exaggerate your ability.
Yeah, Kendrick's bugging.
Yeah. So, thinking about this, and we got top 10 talk. Who do you guys have as your top 10 players of all time?
Yeah, I got my list here. Now, my list is not based on, it's just personally who I like, to watch ball out.
Yeah.
So, in no particular order, I got, of course, Jordan, Kobe. I was a huge Penny fan. AI, Melo, KG. Then I'll go with some of the guys still playing: LeBron, KD, Steph, and then my last guy on the list is T-Mac.
That's pretty good for that list. My top 10 all time is based on guys that I've seen play the game. Not favorites. I figure I have Abdul for the game on my list right now. So I can't do that. So mine's based on guys I've seen play all time. I got MJ. Of course, he's the greatest, so I can't debate that. I like LeBron because I like LeBron too because what he's done off the court, on the court. He fulfilled all expectations and then some. going to 9 finals says a lot, man. When you win or lose, 9 straight, 8 straight is a hell of an accomplishment by itself, man. At least to me, anyway.
Yeah.
I got Kareem at 3. I thought I had a Kareem at 2. I thought about that for a little while. I think that guys don't appreciate being a big man no more, or maybe he plays this position that nobody respects or I guess glamorizes as much no more, like back in the days. But as far as like NBA from his rookie days to now to Lakers, Kareem was awesome on both ends of the front, both ends of the court, I should say. So I have Kareem at 3, Mamba at 4. I debated him at 4 or 5. Wasn't quite sure, but as I think about it, he was he was he was Mamba, man. I mean, I said, you know what? If people compare him to Jordan, and man, Johnson said that he's the best Laker ever, so I can't deny that. So
Yeah.
Magic said, he's the best ever. He's the best ever, so let him be the best ever. So I said, I have Kobe at 4. Plus, Kobe's so influential with young kids in the game right now, with Tatum and Trey Young and other guys who look up to him, And plus, he was a killer, man. Straight up killer, assassin. Paid broken toes, broken arms, knees, ankles, Achilles. He didn't do it all, man. So yeah, I have Kobe at 4. Magic at 5. He just took the game to another level with his gameplay, up and down fast break, passing. I have Bird at 6 because of Magic Johnson and him. And Bird was just also another killer who's tell you I'm scoring for you and will put up for you. And I was a guy who scored left hand too as well. Actually, Xavier Daniel. He said, listen, I'm scoring my point with my left hand. So that right there speaks for itself. I'm gonna put Tim Duncan at 7 over Shaq at 8. And I think Tim winning 5 chips against Kobe and Shaq said a lot. Never had a losing season in 18 years in the league. And I think the reason why I have Shaq at 8 because Shaq was so great, dominant. Shaq was also a lazy guy. Whenever paid to his potential, like he would say himself. Shaq had work ethic. He probably have 8 rings right now, easily. So I kind of fall Shaq with work ethic. I got him at 8. I got Curry at 9. I can't take away from Curry's great. I can't say he's not top 10. Even though personally I love Isaiah Thomas better than him, but that's a different story another day. But for the accolades, achievement, I have to go Curry. At 9, number 10, I got Akeem Olajuwon. I thought Akeem was just great both ends, unguardable. Offensively, he could do it all. He could dribble, he could shoot, he could defend, he could rebound, he could block shots, he could carry a team. Olajuwon was great, so I got Olajuwon at 10.
I would tell you, I got, it's funny. I got a list. It's like, it's not easy to do. So
Right.
I had
Right.
guys that I thought about, older guys. I had guys like what Kareem said, newer guys and different guys I liked. But I kind of like, settled on some guys in between. So what's funny is it's real easy. Michael LeBron 1, 2. That's like the easiest thing to do. Michael LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I got Magic and Bird, and a lot of people don't realize this. Like we love LeBron to death, right? And we love all the things he did. If you go back and you look at the numbers that LeBron put up and the numbers that Larry Bird put up, and the numbers are almost identical. But nobody would ever say that LeBron. That's the crazy thing. Nobody would ever say Larry Bird is the greatest player of all time. That he has almost identical numbers to LeBron James. So
Yeah. That's, you know what? I'm gonna ask a question, man. I'm gonna change subject though.
yeah,
Is Larry Bird better than Magic?
you know what's funny? It's crazy, but
I always like Magic.
It's not crazy.
it's not.
It's not crazy that he's better than Magic. It's not crazy.
He might have been. I mean, people don't want to believe it, but he might have been. I mean, statistically, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, statistically, he definitely is. I mean, you give Magic credit for all the different things, the winning, playing the different positions and all that other stuff. But think of it this way: if Larry Bird's back when they got hurt, we might have been talking about him as the best player of all time, or one of the top 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no issues with anybody saying Magic is better or Bird is better.
Yeah,
It's just that it shouldn't be a problem with anybody's ears hearing that Bird is better than Magic. It shouldn't bother you. Put it like that.
I got
Definitely
Kobe
debatable.
after Bird
Right.
at 5. I
Okay.
put Kobe after Bird. Then I put Shaq. Even though Shaq's lazy, right? The one thing I say with Shaq is that Shaq might have been, next to Wilt Chamberlain, and Kareem, the most dominant force basketball has ever seen. Like at Shaq in Shaq's heyday, there was nothing you could do with Shaq at all. And even on those lazy days when he decided that you wasn't gonna stop him, you just wasn't gonna stop him. So I put him there. Then I put Elijah Wan after Shaq. Now this is where it gets. I actually put Kevin Durant in the top 10 because I think. Yep. Want me to tell you why? I put him in there because I really think that his game changed the way the sport is. I think what's in how many seven between him and you alive, it would have been Dirk Nowitzki because Dirk Nowitzki was him before. He's the better improved version of Dirk Nowitzki.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at it, those guys changed the game. That's the way the forwards turn to these 6'10" guys shooting. There would be no Chet Holmgren and all these. Nobody would talk about any of these guys if it wasn't for
Right.
He certainly changed the way the draft goes.
Oh, yeah.
They see a 6'10" skinny dude.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's more than likely going to get drafted high if he has any talent.
Yep, it's not. Yeah, they're not worried about what your bench press reps are no more.
Right.
Yeah,
that's over with. Then these two. This is one that a lot of people don't want to go with. Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, I put at number 9. Charles Barkley, you look at it, all those things that people say about Barkley and the numbers and Rodman, what he said was the truth. You know, Charles Barkley has a career of 23 and average 12 rebounds per game for his career, not for a season, for his career. 23, 12, and 4 for his career. I mean, realistically, the only knock on him is that he didn't win. And with him, I liked him more than Karl Malone because a lot of people completely forget about Karl Malone, even though I think he's the second leading scorer all time in the NBA. It's second, right? Karl Malone is LeBron.
LeBron is 2.
LeBron is 2. Karl Malone's 3, I think now.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody ever mentions him. And then at the last in the top 10, I put Duncan. Because listen, Tim Duncan's numbers they're very similar to Charles Barkley's number with the winning, and he was much better defender than Charles Barkley. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some other guys on the fringe. When I was thinking about guys I'd have put in the older guys, I would have split after Larry Bird. I would have split it and put in guys like Kareem, Oscar Robinson, Wilt Chamberlain. Those guys I think could have slotted in and pushed all those other guys down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because those are 3 guys, like, I understand the winning of, like, Bill Russell and stuff, but these guys, like, Bill Russell won, but he also played with 8 Hall of Famers. 8 Hall of Famers, and statistically, his numbers wasn't like these other guys' numbers either. I mean, there's very few people who have statistics like Wilt, Kareem, at the time, Kareem and Oscar Robinson with the triple-double. Remember, Russell Westbrook started averaging triple doubles. It was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Oscar Robbins did it 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So those 3 guys that I would have definitely squeezed into this top 10. Definitely.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all this: What do y'all think of the comment that this dude made not too long ago, JJ Redick, when he said in terms of the old school players? I forgot which old school player he was referencing, but he said he was playing against like postmen and firemen.
Bob Cousy.
Was it Cousy, right?
I mean, this is what I will say this, and this is why the game of basketball is kind of tricky. Like, even LeBron and Jordan, right? What people have to understand is this: during their time frames, they were the greatest people to ever play in their time frames. But I see young kids now that people was doing stuff that's impressive. There's kids that's in 11th grade right now that can win the NBA dunk contest easy without even trying. The level of these kids' athletic ability and skill set is completely different than what it was before. So, yeah, granted, I don't think that the game itself, like the basketball IQ, is definitely not as high as what it was. Because you got a lot of people just running around doing crazy stuff half the time. But as far as like ability, I don't think that like a lot of the older players have the same level of athletics. For one thing, athletics they definitely don't have. And what's the ability? Like you have people that could jump, like the Sean Kemps, the Dominiques, and everything else, but just thinking about when you were in high school, right? And this is a conversation I was having with a friend the other. When we were in high school, I could dunk. Kareem, you could dunk, but it was maybe like 12 people on the team, and 4 or 5 of them tops could dunk.
Yeah.
You'd be tough right now to find a high school team where the dude that does the scoreboard couldn't dunk. Like you got dudes with saying doing like the dunk between their legs with Crocs on at halftime. I seen a dude was saying get off the chair. He was supposedly injured and throw the ball between his leg with Crocs on. And he was injured, he couldn't play. So the athletic is definitely different. Now the skill set too, like the moves these kids have, the emphasis on ball handling and stuff, is definitely different. Now, could they outsmart LeBron or outsmart Jordan, Magic, Bird? Not even close. Not even close. But the one thing, bigger, stronger, faster and stuff, dude, you don't have to be that smart. So if Jordan blew past me and I run twice as fast as he is and jump a foot higher, it won't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So what they lack in intelligence, they make up
just
for.
the evolution of the game.
Yeah. The game is more of an up and down game now, athletics. Like, think of it this way. Some of the stuff you see kids and people do now, I watched the game, like, if I could have got away with that, I probably could have averaged 68. I could do that little extra fourth step they take or take my free arm and just push a guy out of the way to get my own shot.
Plus, half the dudes ain't playing no defense anymore anyway. They slide out your way.
Yeah,
Right.
no D traveling, and you could just move people out of the way.
That's why when you find somebody who actually plays defense, they're like a hot commodity. Every team's looking for a 3-and-D wing, right?
Yeah.
I think the Bob Cousy era did have a lot of athletic ball players. But as the game went along, maybe like in the 80s, I kind of think they had. I think the game, the style of play, kind of hid guys' athleticism on the court.
Yeah.
Because I can name guys who are athletic. You laugh at me, like Gerald Wilkins for the Knicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gerald, right now, he'll get it back right now in his era. Joe Wilkins, he will get it back. Not a big bag, but he will get it back.
Absolutely.
He'll get it back. He will get it back. I can name quite a few guys, I think, in the 80s who I think the style of play kind of caught it. Now, I would judge, but other people judge as far as like they can't play because they were athletic enough, So that being said, I think maybe the Cousy era is y'all Vic talking about, but like the 80s, I said, nah, man. There's a lot of guys out there who's athletic, I guess who probably be getting a nice little back right now in this era. It's open court, there's so spread out, extra steps, you could palm, all kind of stuff, man. So
the only thing that would concern me somewhat about some of the guys from the 80s, because they definitely have, I think physically they're stronger than these guys. That's one thing. Like these guys may be bigger, but they're definitely physically stronger because they were taking poundings and stuff in the 80s. But the one thing that would get me is look, they would perform now better because they don't play defense. Whereas if they actually play defense, I don't think a lot of players in the 80s had the ability to create their own shot like that to get to be able to dunk it. Like
that's true.
Right, I got you on that.
But because they don't play D, it wouldn't matter anyway. Like the minute Dominique did a windmill in the first quarter, every other play after that, he'd probably do 16 windmills per game or something because they wouldn't even get in front. They just move.
Right. Move out the way.
Yeah, they just move out the way. So I don't think it's a good question. I think players that were great in any era could probably play all the way through in any time.
Agree. That's how I feel.
I think when it's role players, that's where it gets like a little different because depending on what time frame it is, like you said, guys that can run and jump now would make money. Gerald Wilkins would be a 3-and-D guy. He would get a bag. Yeah.
Yes, you get a bag.
Yeah. Whereas you got other guys like more specialized guys like Danny Ainge wouldn't get nothing. He wouldn't get picked. He wouldn't even get picked. Because even those guys that can shoot now, they require more. Like you can't just get out there and take set shots. You got to be able to shoot off the dribble. They want you to be able to at least stand in front of a guy. So a lot of the older guys that they're like more so one-dimensional, like I don't even know, like in this era, could John Stockton survive?
Yeah,
He
Johnson.
was a decent defender at
I
least.
mean, he's a decent defender and he run the pick and roll. But could John Stockton get up in the court and down the court with these young kids and what's him and compete in that way?
I think so.
I think he could get up and down the court, but I think Kevin Johnson would do better than he would.
Yeah, his game, KJ's game was.
And I think your boy right now will probably get $42 million per year. Abdul Rauf, he was getting
without question.
With his ability to shoot and take the ball off the dribble and handle it, he would be.
Well, yeah, remember.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, cut you off. Utah Jazz, you had an up and down kind of offensive kind of play. It wasn't really a half court team. Utah Jazz, to what I recall. I mean, half court they do a little pick and roll, but they will run when they had Hornacek and another small fucker. I'm not fair barely though. Another small forward they had. They was running, man.
David Benoit and those guys.
Yeah, they was running, man. They was running. Carl Malone was running on fast breaks, and everybody move out of his way. Like, go ahead, Carl. Do your thing, you know.
Yeah, the mailman. That's when he was doing these.
But in terms of the small forward, the guy who always is recognized for the whole Jordan push off thing, or
Russell, right. You know, so I think Stockton will more than hold his own in this era for sure.
I think he would, but I think they would want him to score. Like it's
exactly.
It's hard to be on the court now and not be a guy. If you can't score on the court, it's tough for other people to score now, because now they just leaving you alone. Like, you know what, he ain't shooting, let him stay over there by himself.
Right, because you know what, he could score.
Yeah, he can score.
He can score. He can shoot. He can score. He can shoot. And I always say, yo, try to score more. Be more selfish, man. But you know that wasn't his game. It wasn't his game.
They would need him to score. It's crazy because we talk about defense, but realistically now, it's not about stopping anybody. You got to be able to put points in the board. You got to be able to put points up.
Right.
Because even the best defensive team still gonna give up over 100 points. Because the Celtics were tough on defense. They just couldn't, like, you can't stop everybody all the time.
Yeah.
They lost, I think, the Celtics due to, for one, I think, inexperience, and then Jason Tatum, man. I don't know what happened. He just didn't show up.
Well, you know,
I don't know if his Wiggins clamped him up, or I don't know what it was, but Tatum wasn't the Tatum I was expecting, that's for sure.
See, Tatum to me is kind of like an in-between player. What I mean by that, he's young, but he doesn't play like some of these young kids. Want me to tell you why I say that? Because let's say you switch Tatum out with Miles Bridges, right? You might have won the championship. You know why? Because all those times that Tatum went in there and did that body up layup thing would have been people getting dunked on. It's the same thing back to the Ewing finger roll. Dunk the basketball, bro. Don't go in there off of 1 foot trying to do this. Going off of 2 foot trying to do this. He'd have been on the free throw line half the time. But even his coach was saying they had to go to the basket stronger. They were going to the basket.
He kind of reminds me of a young Carmelo. Even though I think Carmelo was finishing more in his
early
days, was finishing those with dunks. But just his overall game, I think Tatum is kind of like a Carmelo.
Especially you got.
I love Melo. I don't know if that's good or bad for Tatum.
Yeah, you got Kevin Looney down there. Like, you really shouldn't be worried. Him and Draymond worried about any shot blocking. You should be taking it straight at him.
You got to worry about him low bridging you. If anything,
that you do. Pulling your shorts down. Yeah.
I think in the first couple of games, Tatum missed a lot of buddies, man.
Yeah,
a lot of bunnies. Like, he was getting to the basket. The problem was they was rolling out, or he was just playing missing, man. I think he wasn't fit. And then the free throws was another issue too with him.
I didn't get
two in a row, missing 3 out of 4 at the wrong time. And I'm talking about when you got up by 15 points in the first quarter, where he's like, you know what? You guys should be up at least 20 or more.
Yeah.
But since you guys still having 15 range, we're gonna come back and make a game out of it. And what happened? They come back. Clay with his Tommy threes.
Yeah, he did.
In the first, what Clay was, he had Tommy threes the first 3 or 4 games, the first 3 games. After that, got a little more consistent, got a little more hotter after that, though. But Boston had a chance, man. I mean, they had from free throw line, missing bunnies, man, and the awful turnovers. It was
Oh yeah.
like me going to a local park, in my neighborhood, like going Gun Hill Road, my old hood, just watching homeboys just play.
You gonna laugh?
Those kind of turnovers, man. Like, I mean,
I
come
think
on, man.
only the good teams value. Like you gonna laugh? I like them, so I'll use them. Teams like the Spurs, the Bucks, teams like with Doc Rivers coached the Sixers. Those teams value turnovers. Like you're not gonna play. Doc Rivers don't care who you are. If you out there, ask James Harden. You out there throwing the ball away. You gonna come sit next to me.
Right.
But they were just like they were playing like you said, like it's an AAU tournament or something.
Yeah, man. I mean, the turnovers I seen that guys do was it made no sense. It made
Yeah,
no sense at
they made
all.
the game harder than it had to be. Making passes that didn't make no sense.
Didn't Tatum break the record for turnovers in the playoffs or something?
Yeah.
He had 100 in the whole entire playoffs.
100
100
turnovers in what 16 games or something?
In the whole entire playoff, 100 turnovers, man.
Yeah, because then they think about it. They beat the Nets. What? They swept the Nets, right?
That's 4.
That's 4.
Went to 7 games, 6 games with the Bucks. I'm not quite sure.
6 with the Bucks, I think.
Okay.
That's 10.
Right. And
Miami
they went
5, right? Did Miami even win a game?
Yeah.
I think they did.
I think
Miami did.
5 or 6, I think, right?
Yeah, I think they went 6.
So you figure that's 12, 16, and this one 6. So 20 games, he had 100 turnovers. So that's crazy.
He's averaging about 5 turnovers a game.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
You got 5 turnovers a game. You look at teams like that. Like I can't even put that on Udoka at that point.
No.
You look at your personnel. Like you can't take them out. I mean, you take them out, they really game over.
Jalen Brown was he looked better than Tatum, but he was turning that ball over too with some wild passes and stuff.
As much as they don't want to believe it, I mean, they love Marcus Smart, but realistically, when they took him out and put for what's his name and White, they actually were doing better because White, he didn't turn the ball over that much. Like it's crazy. Like even if you put it this way, I'd rather you take a shot and miss than throw the ball away out of bounds or to the other.
You know what it is too in terms of that? I think Smart is obviously won Defensive Player of the Year, which is debatable, but I think it's not debatable to say he's a hell of a defender.
Yeah.
But he takes a lot of gambles too.
Yeah.
Whereas Derek White is just focused on staying in front of his man.
Yeah.
He's not out there gambling on all type of wild steals and stuff like that. So I think that's what Smart, like he was going for like a lot of reckless steals and stuff and then putting his team in a bad position because when he doesn't get that steal that he's going for
5-on-4.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, it's hard to do that stuff against Steph. You going for these wild steals, you miss. Now he's open for a 3.
The crazy,
no matter how deep out it may seem to the average player, Steph, you go for that 3, that still close to half court and miss. He could hit that from that far out.
That's just not understanding who you're playing. We was just talking about Steph as possibly one of the 10 greatest players of all time, and you think that you're gonna go out there and lock him up by trying to do gamble steals and stuff. That's just bad business. Yeah, I mean, one thing, Derek White is a much better offensive player than Marcus Smart.
And I like Smart. I like him. I think he's one of the leaders of that team, but
I like Smart when he's going to the rack and trying to score by penetrating and making layups. Yeah, but shooting threes, nah. Play hero ball, no way.
No, that's not who he is. But a guy like Smart strikes me as a guy who feels pressure. Like when Derek White did well, he probably felt like he had to do something too.
Because White played good the first 3 games.
Yeah.
I would take Smart on
White played good the first 3 games.
Yeah,
I would too. Without question, I would too.
I think that's part of the problem with the Knicks is none of the guys on the Knicks have an edge to them.
You know what?
Smart is always on edge, and you need at least 1 or 2 of those guys on your team. If nobody on your team has an edge, you're kind of soft.
You can't have a roster of suckers. That's what it is.
Right.
I will tell you this: the guy that's tough is the guy that realistically, I might actually let this dude leave because I think the Sims kid is the dude that's not the sucker. There was in the tall light skinned dude that's built
I
his
think
house.
he's strong.
Nah,
He's
dude,
definitely a beast out there. He look like he's ready for a bodybuilding competition, but I don't know if he talks enough, if he's verbal enough to be that type of
I
guy.
seen people try to chest up with him and bump him, and I seen him take his hand and physically move people and chuck him out of the way or something. The fouls he gets is stuff that where it's like, yo, this dude just physically threw a guy out of the way.
Like who on that team, if you think about it, and that's part of what scares me about the Jalen Brunson thing.
Yeah,
Because I
he's no
like
tough guy either.
Brunson, but
Yeah.
Brunson, you know, he's not going to play no defense, right? He's 6'1", 6'2". I think that might be with stilettos on because I don't know if Brunson's 6'2" or 6'3", whatever they listed him at.
Did you
But
see
he
the
definitely
picture?
don't play no
I
defense.
gotta show you the picture when I find it again. You seen the picture of him and Kelvin, so if he's 6'3", then Kelvin must be 6'2" or 6'3" because they're the same height.
So I don't think Brunson's no, and he, you know, I like him. I'm hoping we get him at this point because we done mortgaged so much to chase him around.
Yeah.
But I think he doesn't add that edge to the team. Brunson plays with a little tenacity, but I don't think he plays with that same tenacity on the defensive end. We need somebody who's playing like that on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think
Which goes back to our question earlier, the whole debate, would you go after Brunson or Murray? I personally like Murray a little more. If I had to choose, I would go with Murray. If they
I'm a
both
Brunson
are
fan.
attainable, then I'm going with Murray.
I'm a Brunson fan.
I think
I
what
like
the
Brunson.
Knicks need to do, you're gonna laugh, is they need to scour people's benches, right? And trade some of them suckers they have for players. Like, realistically, why can't the Knicks have somebody like Bones Highland on the team? You understand what I mean?
I think they do. His name is Emmanuel Quickly. I think Highland is just a bigger version of him, to be honest with you.
Or why couldn't
Pretty much
and get somebody like Jason Hart or something like that or whatever? Bring in guys like that. They go out there and they get these guys that real nice and real subdued and stuff like, yeah, Alec Burks, yeah, he's gonna give me 20 or something. But you know what? He's a nobody cares guy or something. Alec Burks gives you 20. Nobody half the time you watch the game, you're like, oh, he got 20?
And that's the same like I think RJ has that in him. His
Yeah.
game is not the prettiest, but I do think RJ is tough.
I think that
he's only 20 years old. RJ be out there playing bully ball against grown men. You know, I seen him backing down. So I think RJ has that type of, tenacity in him. I think Obi may have that in him too, if he could actually get on the court and Tibbs gives him some burn. I seen Obi will get,
I think
down there if he has to. He's not, some Anthony Mason. He's not that type of guy, but I think Obi has it in him. Like you said, Alec Burks, I think that's part of the reason why Kevin Knox didn't last over there, right? Cam Reddish, I like him, but he strikes me as another guy that's questionable in terms of that.
I seen him play. I seen him play against that dude right there. He will be the worst if they let him play the way he plays. He would be the worst guy to talk to.
Cam Reddish is one of those dudes that strike me like in the hood, the type of dude you got to piss off to get him started.
Oh, you get Cam going.
Once you get him started, like Draymond Green with the mouth type of stuff. Once you get Cam Reddish, but if he doesn't get into that, then he's more than content with just running up and down the court and taking his three here and there.
That's why you laugh. That's why I look at some of these young teams and I give them credit, and I think they're gonna be really good. A team like the Hornets have nothing but all the players you're talking about. Because you're not gonna go in there and you're not gonna talk to Rozier anyway. You're not gonna talk to Melo anyway. Bridges is not having it. No, you could do that to Gordon Hayward. There's nobody else in that roster. Yeah, there's nobody else in that
Grizzlies, right?
Yeah, the Grizzlies. You're not doing
Grizzlies
that.
Are a tough young team.
Yeah.
What did Ja Morant type of guys?
Yeah, what did Ja Morant tell Draymond? See you on Christmas?
And they, to be honest with you, until Morant got hurt, which I don't think was a dirty play.
Yeah,
that was debatable, but I don't think Poole hurt him. I don't think the Poole play was what hurt him at all. But I think they were giving the Warriors some problems until Morant got hurt. They might have beat him if Morant was healthy.
But just like you guys are both afraid. Well, that's what you need. You need that toughness and that edge. I sometimes I see it seems like to me like a guy like Rand, they manufacture it. You know what I mean? the guy who gets the basic dunk, who we pumping his fist and yelling and doing all this stuff. Yeah, that's nice for a Gatorade commercial. But those other 9 dudes on the court don't respect you because they know that's not who you are. You know?
Like, yeah, Randall is not one of those dudes. Mitch is not really. Evan Fournier, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
You know? And you don't need a whole team of those guys, but you need a few of them.
But this is what you do. This is what the Knicks need to do. Trade Evan Fournier for James Bouknight and put Bouknight on that court, and you'll get a whole different attitude.
You need a few. You need at least, an enforcer or two at least.
Yeah, you need some dudes. Like a lot of those dudes on Memphis, they were better than what people thought. Like if you redrafted someone, I'm pretty much sure Desmond Bain would have went a lot higher than what he did because he was out there killing.
Yep.
And he ended up getting injured, right?
He got
in those last couple of games. His back, I think, was messed up. They had a chance against Golden State.
They got some of the toughest guards that's out there. Between you got Morant, you got Jones, you got Bain, you got Dillon. Those dudes ain't backing down from nobody.
Don't you think? I think the Pelicans have a team of those dudes too, with Herb Jones. You may not have heard of them, but those dudes are tough.
Those dudes are tough. Yeah. The Knicks need some. Believe me, the Nets needed that too, because believe me, the toughest guys on the team was the 2 dudes we keep talking about. You wasn't going to do it to Kyrie, and you wasn't going to do it to KD. Everybody else, you pretty much could, like Draymond Green, the Happy Giant. Not Draymond, Andre Drummond, the Happy Giant. Seth Curry and them don't want no part of nothing. You know they don't want that. Ben Simmons, we know he don't want nothing with nobody. Whatever. So other than Kyrie and KD, they don't have nobody on that. Oh, some of those guys like Bruce Brown.
Brown is tough.
Yeah, Bruce Brown is tough. Even the young dude, Cam Thomas and those dudes, they a little tougher than the other guys. But
yeah, I think the Knicks, man. But I like Brunson. Brunson does have some tenacity on the offensive end. Defensively,
did you hear what Stephen A said?
And that's what's scary about bringing him in for me, even though I like him. Because you bring him in, now you got a starting lineup of him, I would say. More than likely, Fournier again, right? Assuming they don't make any other trades. They just, obviously, we're going to trade somebody to clear up cap space, but I don't see anybody taking Fournier's contract.
No.
The guy who I think will be traded in order to get Brunson would be Burks or Reddish, which they need to
It'll be Reddish because people want him more than they want. You know what the Knicks should look at? You'll laugh as crazy as it sounds. Maybe the answer is maybe instead of getting Brunson, they should use that room and bring in Collins. Because that would change the complexion.
Who? Collins.
From Atlanta.
You talking about John Collins?
Yeah, bringing John Collins.
I would have swapped John Collins with I think we do need a point guard, but I would have swapped John Collins with Randall at one point.
Well, you think of it this way: John Collins is
only because he's tough. I would say.
Well, Randall's he's definitely tough. He'd be the best interior defender on the Knicks right now. None of them block shots like Collins. He's probably the third best 3-point shooter, and by far the best athlete on the team on the Knicks today if they had him.
But what about in terms of Brunson and Murray? Why is the Spurs looking to trade Murray to begin with?
Because they got
dude is young, so you can't even say he doesn't fit the timeline. He's 25 years old.
They got 600 guards.
You got Josh. Granted, he's young. Potential. Josh Primo is going to come in.
They don't want to pay him.
They don't want to pay him because right now he's got Plus, too, I hate to say it, I really think it has something to do with LeBron and them. That Maverick Carter stuff. They
he's one of their clients.
Yeah, nobody's gonna get held over the barrel no more. Where I'm not playing if you don't give me this money, and I'm gonna get you. Nobody's getting duped. We're gonna get this dude $22 million a year, and then he's gonna be like, I don't like the direction the team's going.
Because Murray, man, Murray's a beast.
Yeah,
on both ends of the court.
Well, listen, I'm gonna be happy to make that deal for John Collins when we get him on the Spurs. They can have Murray for John Collins. We'll just sign Lonnie Walker back because he's a free agent, and with him they got it. Probably will be Primo. You're right. It'll probably be Primo
it'll be the next guy to step in. I guess they drafted him pretty high. He's young.
But I don't think they're ready. Like I think with Collins, they also looking to trade the other dude too, and I wouldn't mind getting rid of him either. The Prodel, yeah, he's
Oh
serviceable,
yeah, he
but
can go.
I
I
mean,
thought you was
he's
talking about
him
Keldon
and
Johnson.
Kevon Looney is the same guy. Like Kevon Looney, these Prodel guys, they're serviceable. That reminds me of back when remember when Stephen A. used to talk about Rasho Nesterovich? Rasho.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying they were looking to get rid of Keldon Johnson. I'm like, what,
No,
they having a fire sale over there? Because
no, no. That's you'll laugh. They really want to keep Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson, Primo, and they like the Vassell kid. They like those four guys. And they all right with the dude that they got from Portland that's always hurt. I think his name is Zach Collins or something.
yeah, he, like you say, he's always hurt. He got
Yeah.
talent, but he's
But they're
injury
not
prone.
giving this dude Prodel. He's out there looking for 20+ million a season.
No way.
Mm.
I don't know. Think about Aiton struggling to get that.
Yeah. So you got Jakob Prodel talking about he won a 4-year deal for 80 million. Nah, come on, bro.
I wouldn't even give him 15.
So you know what you do? You trade. You get rid of him.
I wouldn't even give him.
I
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't give him the 4 for 40, whatever that Mitch is trying to get.
Yeah.
You think he's better than Mitchell Robinson?
No. That's the problem. And nobody else does in the organization. So they like, you know what? Rather than have these problems, we just trade them. Let them go.
I give up all those conditional picks if I'm the Knicks because supposedly the Spurs want 3 first rounders. They're not getting 3 first rounders without them being like pick swaps.
You know what
or
they would have to
conditional
do?
picks. There's no way.
If the Knicks signed Mitchell Robinson back to a reasonable deal and put him with the picks, they would do the deal. Because he would be a media starter. They would do that.
I would give up those conditional picks.
Yeah, they would take the conditional picks and Mitchell Robinson for Murray.
And I'll throw in the Dallas pick too if you want it.
I think
that's going to be a late first rounder next year.
I think they just got to come back with a big player though. It's not just the picks. They need to come back with somebody that could play power forward or center, and it would have to be Mitchell Robinson because they're not taking Chris. You know, they're not taking Sims. They were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I give you Mitch to bring back Murray. We need a point guard in New York. At this point,
Right.
I don't care who
I
it
think
is.
Murray will be,
but it has to be a significant jump. I would say it has to be Brunson, Murray. We ain't getting Mitchell, but you throw him in there, right?
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, somebody like that. And he's not bad, but don't come tell me Tyus Jones is the next guy we're bringing in because we might as well just give quickly the keys then.
You're gonna laugh. What scares me about a team like the Knicks is that the Knicks fall in love with numbers. Like they look at some analytics, but they look at the pick, they look at the player and not the numbers and the fit. So I can see a team like the Knicks, if they didn't get Brunson, bringing in some fool like Sexton, who would not work out at all.
Yeah, he's not a winning. He's talented, but he's not a winning player.
He can get numbers, but you bring him in like, yeah, we got talent. Yeah, but it doesn't translate.
To me, I think the Knicks, this regime, this version of the Knicks management, they seem to look at who they have relationships with.
Yeah, whether you go to
Kentucky, Duke.
Yeah.
One of those.
So then you better be prepared. You might end up with one of them Tyus Jones or whatever his name is.
And I like Tyus Jones, but don't come trying to sell me after you gave up the 11th pick on Tyus Jones being my starter.
Well, they might be.
Even as a stopgap, I don't want him.
You know what the Knicks should have did that they didn't think about to hedge their bet? When they made that deal with Detroit, they should have asked for that other dude, that other point guard. It's not Kira Lewis, but the other dude that they had.
I'm not too crazy about him either, though, to be honest with you. Killian Hayes.
Yeah, Killian Hayes. At least you could see where he's at is better than nothing. Because if you don't get Brunson now and you don't trade for Murray, you got nothing.
Like in order for me not to give quickly the keys, I got to see somebody who's hands down better than him. I think Murray and Brunson is hands down right now today better than quickly.
I'm not
outside of that. I'm not giving the keys to Killian Hayes over quickly.
I think McBride is better than quickly. A lot of people debate that, but I'm gonna tell you right now, McBride is definitely a better defender. He's definitely a better shooter. He's more athletic than quickly. And quickly, neither one of them, this is the part that's the problem. Neither one of those guys is going to average more than 3.5 assists. And the problem that the Knicks have is they got the super ball stopper. So you need somebody in there that has the confidence to say, listen, Julie, just go over there I'll get you the ball. You don't want him like. I'm even concerned, like you said, with Brunson and the fact that is Brunson gonna come in and just chuck the ball, and we're gonna watch Randall bring the ball up the court while Brunson stands on the side. If they don't get the right guy,
I think Brunson's gonna come in if we get him. I think he's gonna come in. Grant, he's getting $25 million or whatever it is. We're gonna end up paying him. He knows he has all his backing, right? Tibbs is behind him, all those relationships and stuff. So I don't think he's necessarily gonna come in trying to be the man, but I think he's gonna come in definitely not playing the back seat. Let's put it that way.
You gonna laugh?
I don't know if that's good or bad, but
hold on, fellas. Kenyatta, you said McBride's a better shooter than Quickly?
Yeah, I think Quickly's definitely a better shooter. If anything else, McBride may have him.
You sure?
Quickly's a shooter.
Well, McBride didn't really get an opportunity on the big team, but I guarantee you this:
I think McBride's spot is probably done after they, assuming this guy that they just drafted doesn't get hurt, because that guy is a hell of a defender from Duke.
And
he's
big.
He's
he can shoot.
Kind of like a Lou Dort, right? That guy.
Yeah, exactly. He can shoot too.
So I think McBride's spot on the team may be in question because McBride was kind of like we were bringing him along as that pesky defender, but this dude is a bigger version, So
if I'm the Knicks and they just got those picks and stuff, you need to go for the gusto. As much as people don't want to hear it, take RJ, take those picks, take Quentin Grimes, and ship them to Portland for Damian Lillard. Forget about all of this Brunson and playing around with it and stuff like that. I tell you who ain't gonna bow down to Julius Randle, Damian Lillard. He comes in there, right off the top, Randle will know who the number one option is if Damian Lillard's on that team. It won't be any debate, argument, or anything.
I think either way, my personal opinion is either way, we got to stop. We got to decide whether we're rebuilding or we're, trying to win now. I think that's the biggest problem. When you have Tibbs as your coach, you would think win now, but yet we still have all these young players, right? So if we're going with Tibbs and continuing along with him, and then like you said, start trading some of these young dudes away along with these picks and just bring in legitimate veterans. If I don't personally think we should go that route, but commit to it. Commit to one of these routes. If you commit to the rebuilding route, you got to get rid of Tibbs, but you got to commit to something.
To me, I think about this. I think realistically, think of it this way. Can you tell me after you seeing Sims play, right? Can you tell me 1 minute that Noel should play over Sims or Gibbs?
Noel shouldn't even be on the team at this point.
So both of those guys right off the top. You sign Mitchell Robinson back, you got Sims. That's your centers. That's it. Nobody else. Don't go, they got this old guy and he could do this and do this dumb Paul Millsap route and bring in Blake Griffin and all these retreaded, resided dudes like the Nets. Don't do any of that. Commit to those guys. Power forwards, you got Julius, and I don't even see another one on the roster. Obi should be
now. It's Obi, but Obi's getting shitted on playing 10 minutes a game. He should be playing more than that.
Obi should be backing up both forward positions. He should be the backup, but you're behind RJ and Randall. You put RJ at the 3, not because he can't play the 2. I'm still not sold on his ball handling ability and the fact that this guy had me laughing. Stephen A. said between Julius Randle, Brunson, and RJ, you might as well put an electric fence on the right side of the court because none of those guys can go right. None of them.
I think RJ improved with his right hand. Randle hasn't, but I think RJ got a lot better with his right hand.
No, I think he did, but I still don't see him as a 2 guard. Like he's not the guy that if you bottle Brunson up, I want him bringing up the ball with pressure on him. Marcus Smart, that stuff you talking about with Curry, he'd be done picked RJ's pocket every other time. Mm-hmm. So I don't see him as like the guy that could spell a point guard or something. At least not at this point.
I don't know if he can bring it up
full that court. Guard on the roster right now.
RJ, I think RJ is kind of like a point forward. I don't know if he could bring it up all game long, 40 minutes plus a night. I don't know if he's ready to do all that, but I think RJ could run the point forward. He did it in high school and college.
I would have liked it if the Knicks would have tried to get somebody like who knew that Portland was going to trade CJ McCollum. That would have been a hell of a guy to bring in for the Knicks, a guy like McCollum or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna commit to we're trying to win now, if not, he would have just been another guy getting in RJ's development.
Like realistically, RJ looks at himself as wanting to be in those KD molds. You know who you should look at, believe it or not? Look at a guy like Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is not overly flashy, but he knows what he can do, and he does what he can, and he's really good at it. So, like, I couldn't like some of those plays you see some of these other guys making. People got to understand he's a generational player. So RJ's not going to be this guy.
I think RJ should be looking at like Jimmy Butler or somebody like that.
Yeah,
with a little bit more aggressiveness in his offense, let's say.
Well, yeah, don't be Jimmy Butler. Yeah, Jimmy Butler sometimes.
But when Jimmy Butler's aggressive,
that's another guy.
Whether he's a superstar when he's aggressive.
That's another guy that's robbing the money. We got a whole bunch of people in the league robbing teams or something. Oh, when I want to be aggressive, I'm gonna score points. Other than that, I'm gonna take
playoff Jimmy. As a problem.
Yeah, playoff Jimmy. Don't worry.
Until he gets to the playoffs, though, he's kind of load management now. And
the whole season. Don't worry. We're gonna get there. We're gonna be the 6th seed. We'll make it, and then all of a sudden I'll turn it on and we'll win.
I think he should be looking at Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard. Right? Leonard's game isn't flashy.
No,
he could jump. He's athletic, I would say, Leonard, but he's not. He's going, get to his spots and
exactly.
Even a Paul George. Paul George is athletic and he's has a little craftiness to his game with the handle. But look at those type of guys.
Yeah, he's got it. Like I think the next thing is understanding the in between game. I think that's where like some of these guys make them the best. Like Kawhi knows when to go all the way to the basket and when to pull up. A lot of guys get caught up where they either taking threes or they going all the way to the basket. They don't know that in between part yet.
The thing about it this way, like John Morant did his thing, right? John Morant, I would say, is ahead of RJ. He averaged 20, 25 points, whatever is 24 points. RJ averaged 20 points with Julius Randle in his way. John Morant brings the ball up and shoots whenever he wants. Yeah. RJ can't do that. RJ spent the first half of the season standing in the corner.
I will say this.
Finally, by All-Star break, he had enough and said, I'm going to try to take over this team. And I think he did. If you get Randle out of the way and give the keys to RJ, you're not going to win right now, but he's going to get you 25 a night. I would say 24, 25.
No, I think RJ's a good player.
Obi can get you 18, I would say, if you give him the touches.
When you look at it and you look at the whole thing, even coming out of college, when you see a man jump over another human, you knew John Morant was probably going to be a generational type of player or something because people just don't do that. So RJ, you knew was going to be good because he was in. The problem with RJ is whether he was going to be able to bully ball people in the NBA because that's his game.
So far, that's the crazy part. So far, he's doing it.
Yeah,
the dude is only 20 years old, so he's going to get stronger.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but he might hit what I call the Canada plateau, or whatever. All them dudes from Canada get to the same point. Like he could be Wiggins, or whatever.
Right now, think about it. Wiggins, once he found himself in the right position, now everybody's loving Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah,
again.
No, I'm not saying it's bad, but you're not going to pay Wiggins max money.
But I think the difference between RJ and at least that old version of Wiggins is the mentality. I think RJ, I think he
wants to be a star. So that's good.
He's
you
tough.
always want the guy that wants
that tough mindset, RJ.
Just that he's playing with probably one of the most greedy guys in the league. So
I think the Knicks have a lot of young talent. Like I think you don't think Quickly can get you 15 points?
No, I think he can
give him the touches.
I think he can get the points. I just don't think he's a good fit for the Knicks because you got nobody passes the ball. Even RJ. That's the problem.
That's the problem with Quickly, I would say, is he don't get you 15, but it needs to be off the bench as like a 6-man.
Yeah, he can't start because he don't pass either. Like I don't even know, like even looking at Brunson, I don't know how much Brunson passed. I was looking at him like he can score, but the Knicks can score points. I mean, you got Grimes, you got tons of people on the Knicks that can score. I don't think the Knicks have a problem with scoring points.
But
they have a problem with being efficient with the way they score.
You know what Brunson can do that those other dudes can't? Brunson can get into that paint and create.
Yeah, he can do that. He can definitely do that.
Quickly can get into the paint, but he gonna go with the wild floater.
Yeah.
I think he has
Well,
to work on that mid-range game.
You
But
know what it is?
Brunson's gonna get in there and cause havoc, I would say.
That's
And
a
he's good
strength.
with those kick-out passes to the corner.
That's a strength thing. He just doesn't have as much strength as
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Brunson has, Brunson's always been a physical offensive
yeah,
player. You go back to his college days, that was his game.
he just doesn't have this guy just doesn't have the strength. I think when I look at quickly, I look at guys like Lou Williams and
Yeah,
stuff
he's a
like
good
that.
six man. Quickly could get you, I think
Yeah.
15, 16 points off the bench. Just don't look for him to facilitate.
Yeah, the Knicks need somebody that they can get four. The Knicks need somebody that's going to get 7 assists. They need at least a 7 assist person.
Which is why I thought this guy, but he's too passive. We need somebody who can get in there and actually score too. I thought when Lonzo Ball was a free agent, he would have been a good fit.
I think he would have been a good fit. He would have. Well, I
And
don't
then he
know.
ended
If
up getting
Lonzo Ball's
injured.
healthy, he still might be available. He might become
He
available.
probably is available. I'm just now scared of his injury.
Yeah.
Supposedly now they're claiming that he's recovering well, but that could be because they're looking to trade him.
Yeah, that could be it too. Yeah,
What about I don't know about handing the keys to him, but this guy's another young talent over there, Kobe White, right? He's I'm sure available. But to me, for the Knicks, they need somebody as a substantial upgrade. If I'm not going to give at least quickly, an opportunity, they need a obvious upgrade to him, I would say.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I look at the what's happening. I do think the Knicks are gonna be better. I think they get better a little bit each year, even though they took a step back. I think it's more not so much a talent thing. I think it's an identity thing. At least last year was. I think
the talent is there. It's just Tibbs isn't using it right.
He's not. I mean,
He's playing 5 minutes a game, while Alec Burks is playing 28 minutes a game. Fournier playing 30-something minutes a game.
Listen, you look at Golden State
playing 18 minutes a game.
Golden State didn't help. Golden State did not help the Knicks. What I mean by that is Kuminga and them stacked glued to the bench where you had guys like Otto Porter and Iguodala going in. So right now, in Tibbs' mind, he's like, see, you guys got to see. The veterans are the guys that get you through it. That mentality only works if you got superstars. If you had Curry and Clay and stuff too, you could do that too.
The one thing that's going to be either way, I think this is going to play out early next season in terms of the Knicks direction. Because I think even if we get Brunson and it ain't going well, I think Tibbs going to get fired. He's going to be the first guy to go because that's usually before management, gets fired, right? They usually get rid of the coach.
Yeah.
So Tibbs will be out by All-Star break if they're struggling, no matter who they bring in at the point or whatever they do.
They're going to hire Steve Nash now because he's going to be gone.
I thought we should have, to be honest with you, I thought we should have brought in a dude who left the Nets, Atkinson.
Well,
now after what he did is kind of.
I wouldn't mess with him. Yeah, he reneged on Charlotte. But that other dude that Charlotte
found out on like Twitter or something like that he was backing out of his agreement, right?
Yeah, this dude is not bad though. The dude that Charlotte just had, I don't even know why they really got rid of him. Unless
Borrego,
yeah,
I think he was good.
He was good.
Let me ask you this: since we're talking about the Knicks, right, with all these assets and whether they should have gave up the farm for Ivy, didn't the Knicks have the opportunity supposedly to do the same thing for LaMelo Ball and refuse to do it?
Yeah.
Right, because nobody thought LaMelo was going to be this LaMelo this soon. So supposedly they could have threw the farm, and I thought he would have been the perfect fit for them.
The problem with the Knicks is that they still haven't adapted to the new way the NBA is. The NBA is really about a couple of superstars, their friends, and guys who can shoot. So until you come to the realization that I hate to say it, that the name on the back of the uniform now is actually more important than the name on the front of the uniform, they still think, well, we the Knicks and the coach runs the team. No. Those 3-star dudes you get on the team that like each other, that want to play, and the shooters around them, they run the team.
It's a
Because right
point guards
now,
league, so until we get one, we're gonna continue to struggle.
I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, if Kyrie Irving and KD went to management and said, you know what, I'll take this shorter deal and all this stuff will go away if you fire Steve Nash, guess who'll be fired tomorrow?
Yeah.
So the Knicks, the Knicks still don't understand. They think the coach controls the team. And maybe for the Knicks he does. But I guarantee you, like a Taylor Jenkins, you think he tells John Morant and he runs the listen, y'all gotta stick to this strict thing to do. And if you don't run this play, I'm sitting you down. And if you miss a defensive assignment, he'll be fired tomorrow if he
And
did
the
that.
crazy thing though is in addition to that, in terms of Tibbs is obvious when he's playing favorites. Like
Yeah.
Julius Randle is out there doing that spin move, turning the ball over all game long. And Obi Toppin makes one mistake and he's pulled.
Well,
Same thing with Alec Burks.
I got to tell you, you guys really don't understand why the real reason the Knicks lost. If y'all want to hear it, I'll tell y'all. Derrick Rose was out for the season. If Derrick Rose was there, that was it.
Yeah, Derrick Rose. See, that's like you said, that's the difference. When Derrick Rose is on the court with Julius Randle, Derrick Rose is still a man. He's controlling what they do on the offensive end.
That's because
And
Derrick Rose, even in his lesser self, Derrick Rose still sees himself as a superstar. So in Derrick Rose's mind, which is true,
he still has more talent, even being injured than those dudes.
if I'm
He just
Derrick
can't stay
Rose
healthy.
and I'm on a team with Julius Randle or any of these dudes, I'm like, yeah, dude, you dudes never been where I was, and you guys probably will never be where I was. So all that huffing and puffing you doing to these dudes, I don't even want to hear it. Like, come on, dude.
Derrick Rose, man, I don't know. Derrick Rose is that dude.
Yeah.
Supposedly he has a connection with Jalen Brunson, right?
Yeah.
So
I think he'll help. Well, how do we even know the status of Derrick Rose right now? Because I haven't heard anything about Derrick Rose.
that's another thing. Is we got to get Leon Rose to actually talk to the media, right? He's making the same mistakes that the past regimes have made, right? Phil Jackson and all these guys. It's the same story.
Yeah, nobody even knows where Derrick Rose is.
I think Derrick Rose deserves to be traded to a winner, or at least a team that's competing.
I tell you what, you're gonna laugh. I believe Derrick
And
Rose.
if not, send them home. Send them to Chicago. If not,
I can tell you this: Derrick Rose, in no way, shape, or form. I tell you what team he does not want to play for: the LA Lakers.
they probably could use him or would like him.
But Derrick Rose is not Russell Westbrook. So Russell Westbrook, they could sit there and bicker with him and sit like a baby on the end and not talk to him. Derrick Rose, you subject to say the wrong thing, and you'll be hearing about fights in the locker room.
I think Derrick Rose, to be honest with you, even this version of Derrick Rose is better than Westbrook.
Did you hear what Russell Westbrook said? To Skip Bayless.
Told him over the Westbrook thing.
Yeah, don't say nothing that you won't say in my face when you see me on here.
Yeah, he's too caught up in all that stuff than actually working on his jump shot.
Yeah, don't say nothing. But you know what? They knew what they were getting. Ain't these the same guys that turned down getting who they turned down to get Russell Westbrook?
Buddy Hield.
DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, DeRozan, Buddy Hield. DeRozan would have worked out better from a personality standpoint, but his game wouldn't have meshed too well either because he don't shoot threes. LeBron needs somebody on the perimeter.
He needed Buddy Hield more than DeRozan. Plus,
DeRozan is a mid-range assassin, so he would have been clogging up, LeBron's driving lanes because LeBron ain't looking to shoot.
DeRozan strikes me as the type of guy too that if things ain't working, he one of the people that check out. Listen, all right, well, you know what?
Just ask the Spurs, right? He had a completely different play on the Bulls than he did on the Spurs. He checked out on the Spurs.
Yeah.
He was still, feeling upset about the Toronto trade when he was on the Spurs.
So he went out there, went through the motions. He was okay. He wasn't bad. He, was a happy camper, didn't break waves. And then, listen, I'm just here. I don't look bad. I don't look great. I'm good. But yeah.
Pretty much.
As far as playing with LeBron too, whatever, that's something I want to talk about too is, do you guys think that players really want to play with LeBron? Because when Mike and all these people we talk about, these top 10 players, I never once heard fans or media say, listen, they got to go play with Ewan. Oh, they got to go play with this guy. Why is everybody enamored with getting LeBron James more players to play with him? Like, what is the deal here? Like, okay, if LeBron James is so great and he's the greatest, why is it that everybody's trying to give him Kyrie, give him this guy, give him that guy? What is he? He's the greatest.
He's a terrible GM. LeBron is a terrible. He's a one of
Did
the
you
GOATs.
ever once hear
He's a
somebody
terrible
say?
GM.
You ever hear somebody say, "Listen, Kevin Johnson's gonna be a free agent. Let's give him to Michael Jordan." Or let's get Penny Hardaway wants to get traded. Let's trade him to the Knicks. You never heard none of that stuff because people just didn't do that. They actually competed with each other. They wasn't out there trying to let's see if we could get LeBron more chips. Dude, that's still not gonna make him better than Jordan. Jordan, I tell people all the time, how many championships did Jordan lose that he played in? 0. 6-0. And guess what? Elijah wants to be happy too, because if he wouldn't have been baseball, he'd have been 8-0.
He might have won those two.
Yeah, he'd have won those two, 8-0. And if the Bulls wouldn't have got rid of Scottie Pippen, he might have been 10-0. So you can't really compare it that way. Like people, LeBron could win another chip if he gets Kyrie. Yeah, and I'm pretty much sure if Anthony Davis comes back to the Nets and they keep Kyrie, they could win a chip too. You make all these like fantasy lineups and stuff. Of course, people could win. Next thing you know, they'd be like, "Yeah, Kyrie and KD want to go as a package deal somewhere."
I wouldn't be surprised. Knowing those two.
All you got to do is have $90 million in cap space to get it done. So you want to hear something funny?
Kyrie will
laugh.
Kyrie
The Knicks do it. It'll be Julius Randle, the only player left. The Knicks will trade everybody except for Julius Randle. And
Kyrie will convince KD to take the vet minimum to do it. Yeah, we can go over here. I get the max. You take a vet minimum and then re-up next year. KD will follow along.
Maybe we could rebuild OKC. All we got to do is get these guys out of there. If I'm KD and I really want to get out of there, I'm choosing where I want to go. You know what? Send me to Miami or something.
He's going to try to choose if Kyrie walks. It's just that he don't have any leverage.
Miami's a good look.
Just do it out of respect for him.
If I'm KD, Miami's a good look. Like here, listen, you can have Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Oladipo, all of these assorted bums and some picks. I'm gonna go down there and run with Jimmy Butler, and what's the name? Adebayo or something. I'll do that.
If he's
Kyle Lowry, yeah.
If he's gonna leave, it better be, to a contender.
Yeah, mess around and trade him someplace and mess up the whole league. Oh, we felt that Michael Porter Jr. could be official, so we traded him to Denver with Jokic and Jamal Murray and a whole sort of other players. Like, come on, dude. Did you really just make Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Durant, and Jamal Murray on the same team? But the NBA is like that. They like when you trade, you're just looking for picks and young players. Yeah, we got Michael Porter and Bones Highland in the deal. And 4 first-round picks. Meanwhile,
first rounders that don't amount to anything.
Nothing. Meanwhile, Denver's like, yep. And now we probably got the West for the next 5 years.
Let's think about it. OKC been playing that draft pick game for how long? Like, I like Sam Presti, but he's been playing that draft pick game for how long without ever cashing in or, they're not progressing.
I'm going to tell you right now, you know what's even more scary? Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Wiseman will get you Kevin Durant back on the Golden State Warriors right now. You don't even got one of those guys you can take out. You give them Wiseman, give them Wiggins, Wiseman, and Poole, and you got that deal done. And KD
from the Nets, I would do it if Kyrie is,
I think Golden State would do it too. Golden State would do it because it fits their timeline too. Like, listen, we probably got 4 or 5 automatics off of this. You put them back together for KD, and you keep either Kuminga or you keep one of them, Wiseman or Kuminga. But if you just drafted that other kid, they'll win. They'll win for the next 3 or 4 years.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And he would
From
go
the
back.
Knicks, I would do it, assuming everything falls
Yeah.
through with Kyrie, and why
Mhm.
not if you're the Nets?
I'm sure Golden State will look into it. I heard Atlanta. What is Atlanta going to offer though?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Only
Yeah.
thing they have to offer is Trae Young. Like you said, John Collins, somebody will take him,
Yeah.
but he's no hot commodity where it's like, oh, I got to get John Collins.
I could see Charlotte trying. We'll see. They have to start with like Gordon Hayward or whatever, and KD is not going to come back probably unless you keep Miles Bridges. So if you got LaMelo, Miles Bridges, KD, whatever, you'd have to give. But realistically, the trade for Kevin Durant is going to have to be something where people feel like he's not going to play for the Nets, and they're going to have to get a fire sale deal, or it's going to be someplace that he doesn't want to go, because you're not going to just give him away, and he's not going to just go anywhere. So
Plus, that's the thing, when you trade for these guys, that it's nice on paper, fantasy league is something where it's like, oh, LaMelo, look how these guys played if you just add KD. But KD's going to come in and change the dynamics of that team entirely. Like LaMelo's not going to be the same LaMelo.
No.
When you add KD into the mix, now you got to take the ball out of LaMelo's hands, and it could lead to, more success than they had, but it's definitely not going to be the same when you add a guy like Kevin Durant to your roster, unless it's a veteran team like Golden State. It'll continue on like a well-oiled machines.
I think it'll do well in Miami too. Yeah, yeah.
But when you add him to these young type of up and coming, you add him to the Atlanta Hawks. Let's say Trae Young ain't gonna be that same type of Trae Young. He just can't be.
I heard something crazy that if he was available, that the Celtics would be interested. I don't know what they could trade, but where the hell's he going? You gonna have Tatum, Durant, and one of them will have to go. It won't be Tatum. It'll be Brown.
It'll be Jalen Brown. I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be Brown.
They love Tatum over there.
Yeah, but I mean, you got Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant. That'll be tough. That'll be real tough.
I don't know if it's. It sounds good. Given that Boston just made the finals, so you swapping Jalen Brown with KD.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a championship team. They just made it without him, so maybe.
Yeah, you might need another basketball though. Well, the one thing about KD, he's more efficient than a lot of these guys with his scoring too. So he's not usually taking 25 shots and stuff unless he has to.
Plus, KD he's not old, but he's getting up there in age. So if I'm a young team, I don't know, like, because it's going to impact your timeline. So now you bring in KD, you switch automatically to win now mode. If you bring
they're gonna trade him to the Orlando Magic or something.
Yeah, if you bring them to Charlotte, right, it becomes win now. So some of these guys you are developing, you might as well just trade them at that point.
You know the craziest thing about somebody like KD is that I don't even know if he necessarily would care where he got traded. He might just want to play basketball. Because I was watching something, the David Letterman, you know how they do those interview things. He was like, listen, I don't need to win again to define who I am. I want to play basketball. He's like, I like the feeling. And if I get that feeling again, that's great. But
I think he seems like he's in, which is what led him to the Nets. He's in that mode of I just want to play with my boys or something like that.
Yeah.
So who's his next closest friend? Since the Kyrie thing didn't work out, you got to start looking around. Is he cool with Dame, or
he might be thinking about where he wants to buy a house? You know what? I always wanted a house in Miami.
Who's the next dude he's cool with? Because that's where he may end up.
You're going to laugh. I think if he had his choice and it wasn't necessarily about winning, he probably would go to Washington. Get a chance to go home.
Yeah, he's from PG County.
Yep, he probably would go to Washington. But I don't know if the Nets going to take Kyle Kuzma and Thomas Bryant. KD.
Yeah, Caldwell Pope.
Caldwell Pope and Denny Ajivia, whatever. I don't think that gets the deal done.
Corey Kispert
and 27 first-round picks. Like, listen, the Nets have acquired 10 first-round picks every other year between now and 2040.
See, that's what in terms of that, if I'm the Knicks, I would have threw a bunch of pick swaps at these dudes for Ivy. Right? Because more than likely, just throw 2 or 3 pick swaps.
For the Knicks,
I wouldn't give you all my picks, right? But the pick swaps, at least I'm getting your pick back, right? And my pick more than likely is going to be worse than yours because I'm the Knicks, right?
See,
So I'm
what
going to
happened, the Nets going to lose in these deals anyway, because what's going to happen is, remember, when the Nets made these deals and they traded away their picks to get Kevin Durant and them, the expectation was that was going to be a pick in the late 20s to begin with. Without Kevin Durant, Kyrie, you might be talking about you just gave away lottery picks.
Yeah, you gave away lottery picks now, and James Harden's no longer here, right?
Yeah, you gave away
your whole
lottery
roster,
picks.
and now you're trading these dudes potentially.
So you get rid of them, you trade all your picks, so you got lottery picks.
You got to get picks back now.
Yeah, you got to rebuild. Guys. You got to rebuild, and the only way to get value is to trade with bum teams. So you're gonna have
I may trade this dude too if I go that route. If there's no Kyrie and KD, I might get rid of Ben Simmons too.
Oh yeah, you know what? I might.
You wouldn't build around him, Ben Simmons by himself.
You gonna laugh? I might trade Ben Simmons to Portland for Damian Lillard if they take that deal, and have Damian Lillard with KD. Deals like
come on, man.
He's like, come on.
You know what? If I'm Portland,
you guys doing real good up until that comment right there.
If I'm Portland, I may consider it, not because he's better than Dame, but like Portland just drafted Shaden Sharp, right?
Yeah.
And the dude
Reem, are you not co-signing Ben Simmons for Lillard? Yes or no? That's it, man. No, don't give me no dialogue, man. Yes or no? Are you co-signing with family over there to trade Ben Simmons for Lillard straight up? Who's doing that trade? Okay, thank you. Come on, man. Can you understand Island by himself with that trade right there? Don't join him, man. Island by over there, man. Let me Gilligan, man. Come on, man. Ben Simmons for David Lillard, man.
Ben
Come on,
Simmons and Cam Thomas.
If you give me some more, I might do it. Not straight up. But the reason why I say that is Portland. Right, Portland just got Jeremy Grant, right? So now you got Jeremy Grant, Damian Lillard. Where's that team
Jeremy
going?
Grant at the small, Ben Simmons at the power, and you got Anthony Simmons at the point now. You got Shaden Sharp at the 2. All you need to do is give it a Damian Lillard.
Like, I think Portland is one of those teams that they're trying to avoid a rebuild, but they need to do it. They need to just pull the plug.
They got to be honest with themselves. The only reason they're not going to make the deal is because the only way they're going to put behinds in the seats is by having Damian Lillard there. Nobody want to see them other people.
You know, Portland's not known for having an engaging fan base. So I don't know. They may be willing to
Portland needs KD. Portland needs to get KD with Jurek and Simon and Lillard and Grant.
Who are they going to get back?
If they pull that off, I would love to see it, you know.
Portland going to have to give out 7.
Shaden Sharp, give them the next 6 round of draft picks in the first round.
Then nobody won.
Somebody.
Little and Jason Hart.
Somebody. Jason Hart.
You might as well try to send them Jeremy Grant, right? You just got him.
Man.
You might as well dump him.
Listen, man. They need KD. And they ain't trading no Lillard for no Ben Simmons. Haven't played in 3 years, man. Come on, man. That dude got no value, man.
Cam Thomas and Joe Harris is done.
I would love to see KD over there though with Dame.
Yeah, we good look. If we keep Jeremy Grant and the big man and a young kid Simons.
The only thing is that the Nets.
I don't know who they would, trade for him, but if they manage to pull that off, where they keep, the big man like you said, Nursic, Simons, and Grant,
right?
All 3 of those dudes with KD and Dame.
Gotta work.
Good.
Gotta work.
I don't know. Set back now. For KD, you got to give him something.
Yeah, that's the other part. I can't even answer, to tell you the truth. You just look good on paper of them having KD with that roster right there. So
they're gonna trade KD to Memphis.
That'd be a good look.
Give him the tall dude that he's good, but he plays defense. What's his name?
Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, give him Jaren Jackson.
Getting Dylan.
Dylan.
Couple first round draft picks.
Yep.
And keep Bain, you keep
Keep Payne,
keep Morant, and you got KD. That's not
Yeah.
bad right there.
Yeah,
That's not
that's
bad.
a good landing spot for him, I would say.
Yeah.
Anywhere but the Nets, it seems like.
Yeah.
On the way out. Okay, so we had talked about basketball. Let's talk about a little bit of this baseball stuff. It's the Yankees and the Mets, the best two teams in what's been in the National League and American League. And I would say this too. I would say I don't think we still see the best of the Mets because you got to remember Jake DeGrom hasn't played, and what the hell's his name? The other pitcher, he was out too.
Scherzer.
Scherzer was out too. So they right now they got the best record in the National League without DeGrom playing, and Scherzer is just coming back now. They got the polar bear. He got the most RBIs in the league, and I think he's up to 21 or 22 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
And they just seem to be hitting well collectively as a team, and they seem to be playing good defense and stuff like getting good timely scores. I mean, right now, I don't know. I would love to see the Subway Series hit.
I don't know. Talk to Dodgers and Astros first.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, obstacle to make it happen.
Mhm.
That's right. You boys for real, man.
Yeah. Did you see Bryce Harper got hurt again?
Yeah. Broke his thumb with a hit by pitch.
Yep.
That sucks.
I just think he has like tremendously bad luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does for real. He's hurt every year.
I mean, the thing that scares me about the Yankees is, I don't know, fellas. This might be Aaron Judge's last year on the Yankees. I think the money, like I will tell you this, the money that he's looking for and what they offered is way off. Like it's not even close.
Isn't it like $100+ million off or something?
Yeah.
Over the life of the deal.
And I mean, I understand, giving a team a discount, but you talking about life-changing money. If the Angels offer him $400 million as compared to 230, I got to take the 400.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I got to take 300.
For sure. Yankees being cheap. You're being cheap.
Yeah, I thought the offer was a low ball. Like, I mean, it's still big money, but I still don't think it was that great an offer. Was it even 30 a year? I don't think so, right?
I don't think it was.
I think it was like 26 a year or something. I'm like,
it seemed like a low ball offer. It seemed disrespectful considering he came up right with the organization.
Yeah.
And now it's his time to get his payday, and you kind of lowball him. It's almost like a slap in the face. Granted, like you said, to the average person, it's crazy money. But for somebody like him, I think they should have came at least with 300, something comparable to other players.
The problem with baseball is that baseball they let them get away with all these arbitration years and not having to pay them money. So if I'm a player, I'm gonna take that money on the back end. I gotta get it because for 7 years you control. They even lowballed him on this year. He went into arbitration looking for 21. They offered 17, so he had to settle for 19 and get this. Come on, dude. You could at least gave him the 21 this year. You're not even operating in good faith at this point.
Yeah, it's like you trying to piss him off or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what they'll say? They'll tell the fans that they put forth a good offer. They just couldn't match what the other teams was offering. Fans are not crazy. Like, come on, you can match. You just gave what the hell's his name? The pitcher $400 million or something.
And it's unfortunate for the Yankees is that the dude is, if he can stay healthy, he's having like an MVP season, right?
Oh yeah,
leading the league in home runs, RBIs. Mm-hmm. So he's proven his value. So you can't even hit him with that if he can stay healthy and say, "Oh, you didn't produce. You only had 26 home runs." Or the dude is putting up monster numbers.
Somebody's going to offer him the money. There's always somebody that offers him the money. And the Yankees, I understand that you don't necessarily want to play in that field all the way through, but think about the only reason a team like the Dodgers compete is because they keep paying players. Yeah. San Diego got into the game of paying players. Now they're a little more competitive and stuff, but if you're not going to pay your own homegrown players, I mean, They'll go out there and get somebody that they'll call a replacement. Yeah, we brought so and so in from here, or whatever, but it's still not the same.
Yeah, I agree. Bam.
That's gonna be a big hit. Well, we can't play Judge and Stanton both. Well, who told you to trade? He actually his offer was less than what Stanton makes, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
may have
they
been.
offered him less money than what Stanton gets. So you want to make him the third highest paid player on the team or the fourth highest paid player on the team?
How many years Stanton have left on his deal? 6? That's the problem I have with baseball, though. It's not even the yearly money. I think it's gotten a little crazy with the amount of years.
Well,
these 10-year deals, and eventually I think these teams need to collectively just say no. I'm not giving 10-year deals.
They make you take those deals because of what you did to them in the front end. That's what it is. If you didn't control me for 7 years in the beginning and you let me get the deal when I was 23, then 10 years wouldn't seem like anything. But because you controlled me from 23 to 30, like Judge is 30 years old, nobody was really going to be looking to give him a 10-year deal. But I believe that somebody will give him an 8-year deal for 40 per.
And yeah, I don't blame the players at all. I think, like you said, that the owners need to just pay him when these guys are seemingly worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's at 22, 23, then give them their money then. Even the fans, I don't want to see that from a fan perspective. Yeah. I don't want to see Judge on the Yankees for the next 10 years because he's not going to be valuable,
No.
On the back end of that deal. So now you're going to be stuck with him. And well, more player movement to me brings about more excitement.
Yeah.
Apparently, at least in basketball, it does. Free agency is a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
Seeing these guys switch teams but 10-year deals, these guys probably be lucky if they are productive half of those years. Yeah. Judge is 30. Do you think he's going to be 36, 37, 38 hitting, 40, 50 home runs?
No, I think, unless he turns into Dave Kingman, he could hit 30 home runs, but he's going to be batting 200 and striking out.
200, yeah. It's going to be a home run or a strikeout every play, every at-bat.
But I think with him, he'll get a long-term deal for good money. I think, that's why you can't be mad at when the Mets paid Lindor that money. What was Lindor, like 24 or something?
20. He's young, yeah.
Yeah, he's young. So he got like an 8-year deal or something for like maybe $240 million. But at 24 or 25, yeah, that's right around the timeline. When it ends, it'll be 33 or 34, and that'll be, they'll let him walk or whatever.
And you can't be mad at the players. Give me a 20-year deal if I'm a player and some team is willing to pay me.
Yeah.
But I just think it like baseball needs to do things to make the game more exciting, and free agency, shorter deals, but maybe even a shorter season.
Baseball's done some despicable stuff though. So one of the rules is, let's say you're a rookie player and you come up with the team out of camp and you're on the roster. Then your time starts. But what they do is they'll send a player down and then bring them back up to the roster after the first month so that you don't accumulate that year's time or whatever.
Yeah, time doesn't count.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, dude. That's some dirtbag stuff that you're doing there.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a bunch of sleazy type of stuff that they do. To me, basketball probably, and even there's some issues, but they probably do it the best because football, I think, is kind of all over the place too. I think the players should be getting paid more guaranteed money in football for what these guys do.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
hey, listen, my man. It's great to be back. Great to be back at it. Listen, look forward to continuing on and getting back at this, getting another show out next week. Listen, any final words? Anything, Theo?
Yeah, for me, I'm just looking forward to free agency starting next Thursday, something like that, NBA free agency. Yeah. So hopefully we get Brunson. If not, hopefully my Knicks make some moves Leon Rose got to show me something.
Well, let's go Yankees, of course, and let's go with this Spence Crawford fight, man. Let's get it going, man. Time for a date, man. Let's get it going on, man. Spencer Crawford, man. It's overdue. Other than that, I'm all good over here.
Yeah. I just got one last thing too. So Deshaun Watson has somehow managed to settle 20 out of 24 of the cases and is going up to see what his suspension is going to be like. So Deshaun Watson was him. He'll probably get suspended for X amount of time. But you gotta love sports because I don't know if you guys know, Cleveland structured Deshaun Watson's contract so that this first year he makes $2 million, and every other year he makes 30. So go listen.
They knew something.
Yep, look at
They knew
Yeah.
something.
yeah. Gotta listen. Gotta love player agents. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, thanks again, guys. Man, it's great talking to you, man.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
man. Later.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Peace.